right. Hey, man. Hey, everyone. Great intro, right? Well, welcome to Making of the Track again. I'm your host, Cardano. This track is a track off the album Art of Tones, and this is with the Korr, who's a great singer who lives in Van. Very good singer. This was something of a gem to even cross by of a singer like this, and to even approach a singer like this to get on a song like this. And we've had great relationship ever since we have been making this first track. And just, oh, please don't do this on me, you stupid mouse. We've had great relationships making tracks in general. And, you know, it's hard to come across other black folks in Vancouver. And, you know, when it comes with singers that are black in Vancouver, I tend to want to keep them very close to me because none of them exist around here. If you've ever been to Vancouver, and you hop off a plane, you will not see a black person. It is next to impossible. You hop in a room, it'll be like 10 out of 1 person that's black in that room. Yeah. Diversity, right? Okay. Let's get into this track in general. And this is not good. This mouse is staying frozen. So I am going to pull out settings. Basically, these are just settings that are on channel 1. As you know, some of you may know. Oh, Christ. As some of you may know, this is not great. Not having the best of luck of this stuff. Oh. Some of you may know, I route everything into an SSL Minx, which is basically a VCA of 8 channels that shoot out 8 channels through my X8 and go into the SSL, back out, and then into an X4 to print off the stereo mix. So this is what's in channel 1, which would be my kick, snare, bass, anything mono goes in here. And this is just to kind of teeter-tot and balance things within the low end and those kind of low mids. And I have things kicking at 3 kilohertz, so it's just more to make things a little more prominent in that area, especially the kick drum and the snare ends up popping a little more, choosing something like that. And the clap. As usual, you can see what I have done with the master. Would help to hear stuff, right, guys? Yeah. So I just have basically 18 dB curb here at 145 kilohertz. And this is kind of just varies to song when producing. Then we have kind of like an even and odd harmonics, like a saturator, I guess, that kind of gets like the outers and the ins and EQs things along the edges. It's just a preset that's with waves, and I have it on a 3D setting, and it really does sound 3D when you kick it in. So like without, with, right? You can even just kind of like hear the high end kind of just more chisel into the speakers to everything to give its own shape. Then we have bass room to correct amateur bass mixing, enhance things without, with, and then some high end EQ stuff to correct, right? Without. You can just tell that, you know, it's just helped. The mix room has given it more sizzle and stuff that I haven't helped out with because of me making the mix probably a little bit dull. And then we just kind of have a little width within the Waves plugin, which I probably did not even, I think it looks like I've raised it like one little width thing. So really not doing too much. And wanting to just maintain a wider mix because it just sounds, I guess, more expensive to me, I guess. each preset here is called Pop Guru, just to make things. I just feel like that plugin, when you use the setting Pop Guru, that everything has a more balanced mix to it rather than kicks being super in your face. What's cool about that plugin is you can slide in a song and it'll basically copy the EQ and adjust to what your song is, which can be quite cool. So if you have someone that's your favorite artist or whatever, or you want to sound like a Tiesto song, but it would help if your song sounded like a Tiesto song. It would help. Oh man, here I go again. So we start with the kick, which is I had to freeze this because Pro Tools and its sample stuff just doesn't want to cooperate, staying live. So the track has to be frozen, also everything goes off. So basically, I know what I've done here is I probably most likely boost the kick at 100 kilohertz or 100 hertz, or sorry, whatever's in there, and probably dipped it down at 135 to pick up the smiley face stuff, and I probably got something jammed between the 1 and 5 kilohertz region within the kick. Most likely it would have been 3, possibly 5. And then we have the oxide tape to probably give it more saturation, along with the parallel regressor giving it more saturation again. Maybe a little uncalled for, but gain staging things, I guess, helped in the process of doing this. Here's the clap, the settings in the clap, and it's just it's a fab filter. I'm more in the habit of, because this track was produced in 2021 and is now 2024. There's a lot more things being done in general, the way that I mix here. Like with everything now, I usually kind of subtract everything with Fab Filter, then use more Apollo plugins with analog settings to boost if I feel things if needed. I feel analog equipment will give more color than your digital plugin will, because they're emulating an analog circuitry, which you run anything through any different analog circuitry can possibly give it some color. Yeah, with the clap, we're in the the low mids of 636 hertz, 0.58, whatever, which is like something like a D sharp fifth or whatever. Let's not get too precise. And then we have the LA2A, which is kind of just grooving the transient more to give it more control, I guess, if you listen. It's basically just helping to trigger in the mix a little more. And I think this is me just being a little shy, since this mix is like just, close to 20, close to 2 years old, right? Kind of like the same thing, I guess. Different cutoffs. Yeah, bit of different cutoffs, but almost the same thing. Not really. Just to kind of give its own shape within there, and then a little more aggressive. This is the off-time clap, and I think I'm being a little more aggressive with the compression within the off-time clap. Let's see. It's not doing anything. Wrong channel. That would help. Uh-oh. This doesn't seem to be working. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's just basically, a little more aggressive, like I said in the first place. And then we have the second, kind of the same thing, a little less. It looks like me being lazy. From what I see, track sounds good though. This sounds like, I don't know what's going on here, but it did not seem like this in the master. But yeah, That's what it is here. It doesn't seem like that in the master. I think it's a little crazy, but yeah, it does not sound like that in the master. Here I'm just cutting some stuff off in the hi-hat. Nothing fancy. I really don't raise things in the hi-hats because it's called a hi-hat. It's high already, in my opinion. So I don't want to really add things to it. And then I have like a isotope width thing that kind of gives it a little more width, panning it at 30. You know, even the claps here, it shows that it has its pans. I wouldn't really do this, but just varies from song to song, a feeling. Some drum loops, as usual. Just adding in the candy, right? You can tell, like, it's just, there's nothing without the candy, right? So. And I'm just kind of just cutting off things so like these loops will give the groove, right? Like that's the first, second. And this is called lazy EQing, done back in the day from yours truly. But yeah, this is just giving more of the groove with the production. I feel it's just the easiest hack way to get a groove in your production when adding drum loops and EQing things. From watching other YouTube's channels from back in the day, as far as seeing someone like Avicii do the same thing, I have carried on doing that, and it's done by other producers like people like really cool minimal house producer. Forgot his name. Doesn't matter now because time's a wasting. Then we have the ride hat, which, you know, it's nothing too crazy. It's just kind of just giving it slice, like the and I think it really gave more feeling for Korr's vocals to write to, having something like that, you know, because it just sounds like it's a cold fire. There's knives cutting through the relationship. If you listen to the lyrics throughout the song, you know, the vocals mean something to him for what he's written, and it's a story, right? Let's see, and then we have the crash, right? And then really throughout this Art of Tones album, a lot of the kits that I use in terms of synth were just used over again. I mean, that's kind of the thing when you do an album, is that you kind of almost use the same kits, especially if it's just one producer. I'm not like an artist who's had a bunch of other producers and I'm rapping on it or singing on the album, right? I'm a DJ, so I have to make everything myself. Here's the bass line. It's just really this is really just like kind of like a generic kind of bass thing made in Serum, which was just used over and over again. And then this was like a Roland piano. This is not an M1. There's me like filtering out things with it. Oh, great. Lost connection. Come on, you can get the connect. There you go. So yeah, this is like a Roland piano, which is pretty close to what like an M1 sounds like. And this is basically, it was the time where I didn't know like M1 piano was like the cool piano to use in house. It was just, this sounded similar to that sound for what I knew at the time. And you know what? I kind of use this piano over again. It's cool. It's cool, right? The M1, it kind of sounds like a cheap tinny piano, but it does sound great, right? Just the normal like one knob, which I don't use anymore. I'm using like an LFO thing from X for Records. And then this looks like craziness. We're taking out 135 hertz on the bass, raising, like, I don't know what's going on. Raising, I don't know. Yeah, so we're raising about 1,000 K or so hertz or so here, and then yeah, we're raising about 1,000 here and then 1,900 here, 61 hertz here. So basically to rumble the speaker, excuse me. And then here is like where the kick basically will pull down whenever the whenever the bass is going, the kick's gonna kick in there. There's a classic frequency with the kick and the bass here, which I probably have like the same thing going up in the other channel, which I couldn't explain. Oxide tape for just saturation, I think, and I think it was mainly for like going through. I think an oxide tape machine was used more in the recording aspect, and then because like I have like a plugin now in Pro Tools that I that Heat's called, so it goes in as a pre before, so kind of like how they used tape back in the day. Then a parallel aggressor, which is still being used on everything. It's really stuck in my productions. The one knob filter, which I just like going to it because it's quick and it just kind of has a cool effect. Then we move to the piano. Excuse me. Looks like I'm ducking some parts and basically raising. I think this is like kind of like a dynamic compression I'm doing here or something. Yeah, it looks like it just lightly hits at a certain frequency here in the 2K 1600 region. Then here we at the 4 kilohertz region. It's just adding icing on the cake to be heard more. And then the compression is basically giving it more. It's a lot of compression, but the compressor itself is giving a lot of color because it's a tubed compressor. And then the oral exciter is basically the bread and butter. I know that there's a filter there, but if you really check out the piano here, the filter is used so much throughout this song. So you can really hear like it brightens things up a lot. Right? There you go. It's like it's an immediate change. The oral exciter does. I used to be quite scared and skeptical because it does too much, but it's just all about using your ears and playing. I was very scared to take it out back in the day when using this plugin because it just brightens things a lot, and you really don't realize how dull your synths can be without this thing to really add a certain color to the mix. And then we have just like reverse piano effects for more tension at certain areas of the song. Right? Got some really, really cool rapping there. I almost wanted to get it would have been cool to get a known rapper in that section, a cool Canadian rapper. But, there was only so much time to look, and we just didn't really know people that we wanted to rap that verse that he had there. But Korr was really cool with wanting to do that, but I thought it'd be cool to kind of add a rapper within that point there. But he is awesome himself. Then we have just like the electric piano for the breakdown. And this is like a Rhodes sounding piano. I'm not sure if it's like the Waves one that I use or either the Korg one, but I'm 100% sure that I think it's the Korg one, because the Korg one is a real go-to that I like to use. Oh, sorry, the Roland one is a go-to that I like to use from before, and now I like to use a lot of like the Rhodes sounding M1 because it's just nostalgic to other people's ears. Then we have just a string just playing one note, and the pumper not making it boring, right? Just a nice pitting, how to say 6 with the pumper. Then we move on to the melody, which is something nothing too crazy, but it's just some plucking notes. And sorry, I forgot like the I'm really leaving a lot of things out with the other stuff, but here we just have I put this here because I didn't work with any other mixer but myself, and then a mastering engineer. We just have like things pushed up at the 500 kilohertz region to give it the low mids above the body of it, and taking out all the low end junk that doesn't need to be there, that's in the way of the kick. And then we're just compressing just to let it have its own space. I really think the volumes are totally off within this because this is a lot more prominent and louder. I mean, possibly it could have been fine in the car. Let's just see with low volume because I'm listening. To me, it seems like the volume's really low. For that synth, it's not popping out. I think this mix is a little off, or I'm really just not. The work's just not good enough for what it is now. But I think everything just got jumbled from me sniffing for stems for the label and then coming back to it. Excuse me. Sorry, and we'll go back to the strings where I've just kind of take things out and given it 2K to be more noticeable because that is more noticeable to the ear, that frequency, so the strings stuck out more. I gave it the plug child, which is kind of like the Fairchild, but this is the Waves version. It looks like I'm just tickling the needle for the settings on this, and this would be basically overall just giving it a color. Because like this compressor is in another big time Jack Joseph's plugin collection, so this plugin is emulated from his Fairchild that's in his studio, and probably sounds a little different than other people's Fairchilds because he's probably done some mods to it. Excuse me. What else can we jump into? Yes, the Rhodes piano, just taking some stuff out and then raising things up one. Like I say, this might be a little crazy to do from what I did, but it worked for what it is. And I think, less is kind of more, and I think there's just too much going on. But I think here is basically a place where something was interfering an instrument. It looks like the bass was clashing somewhere in here, so it wasn't bringing it out. And every time the bass comes in, the frequency will turn down in there, vice versa. And just here that I think I said that already. Just 2K raise. I feel like I'm repeating myself. So here we have the parallel drum compression. Looks like I'm taking stuff out of the sides of side frequencies. So like anything that's low end, anything low end is getting shaved off from here. But in the side end areas of the spectrum, stereo spectrum in the low end there. Excuse me. And then parallel aggressor saturation, no compression in this, because I guess I thought this is what was cool to do. And you know what? Song sounds great, so who cares? It's when I see this, and I think this is either to do with this plugin emulating some circuitry, or either it's coming from the SSL. I don't know. And from looking at here, I think that's what it is. It's probably just some noise that is coming from this EQ. Um, looks like I used a thing that was a clarity thing, and I think it's just kind of doing like the upside down happy face thing. So from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's boosting 20K for quite a bit, and then it's cutting down 180 hertz. So, and then it's all of a sudden, and then it's pulling up 470 kilohertz here, and that looks like a bell-ish thing, bellish. These are, I don't know what that is doing, but looks like some weird looking shelf. And here it looks like it's boosting 2K. And it looks like kind of like a shelf, I guess, from what's happening with the Manley's doing. And then we have the Manley again, just doing like a stereo bus compression. And this is mainly for like the instrumental and the Vox to make things a little wider. And you can tell that's like the bulks of, the song. And then just has some effects here. I'm not going to really go over settings with that because they're just effects. I'm just either subtracting or taking things out that are clashing with the vocal, probably in the climax, and more like effects. Ear candy. It's just the ear candy section. There's a lot to this because of the record with having a vocal and me trying to, I guess, go for a more commercial dance music sound. And then we get on to like the blood and guts, which is like the vocals. So it really looks like I've processed all the vocals, so I'm not going to say much, but I can probably try to remember what I did because I probably did not save any of the settings for it. 100% sure that I did not. I could even check in here, and I'm sure I did not save a single thing of his vocal chain. But I could probably tell you that I use my JZ mic, which is like an emulation of Neumann 87. I probably most likely used my Apollo 4 to track his vocal, which is done down there in the studio. No closet, because it just sounds like this when someone's singing in a closet, and it sounds like doo-doo. And I probably used a Neve. From what I think I used a Neve channel strip on him, the 1073. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure it's the 1073. 1073, and I'm 100% sure that I had used an LA2A on him, or either an 1176, but most likely LA2A. And then when it got down to it, I probably used the Sheps plugin to DS other points of his vocal, using probably 2 de-essers, and like that's pretty much it. I just sat with him. I didn't really coach him much throughout the vocals, and like it's because we did post production, so it was like from him going back and forth in his studio, and then me just dumping it in the DAW and seeing how things would sound, and then he had all his like octaves going, because he's not really harmonizing because it seems like they're like octaves. So like.
Go higher, go fire. You're my only vice.
Yeah.
Lose yourself tonight. Choose your shot, you might. You're gonna sweet as life. Kiss me as paradise. Watch the flames ignite.
It sounds harmonized a bit, but a little octave-ish. I think that's not even a word, but I feel like when he sings, he's doing octaves rather than harmonies. But like to me, I was just like, these sound great, right? I had nothing to say when he was tracking. It was just like I was just blown away.
Watch the flames ignite. Go higher, go fire. You're my only vice. Lose yourself tonight. Shoot your shot, you might. Go higher, go fire.
Sorry, you can just tell. It's just like his vocals sound great. Yeah, and I really did not use much Melodyne on him. That was basically, I can just remember Melodyning when correcting things that like it was just like a move like that. You know, there were such small movements that it's just like sometimes I left things because he sounds like he's tuned already the way that he sounds when he sings. Like he's got an amazing voice. So I mean, I encourage anybody to hit him up for a vocal on your track because he will do it. He's an amazing vocalist, and I'm so grateful to have worked with him. Yeah, that's about it. And there's going to be remix packages of this track, which is why I'm making this video, because it's basically promo material to get some more purchases on the remix and whatnot. We'll see has an amazing remix of this song, and I can't wait for everyone else to hear it. I think it's one of the best tracks that has been remixed on the album. And I even remember Will C even messaging me saying like, "Did you record these vocals?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's done at the studio." And like that's the thing when you're dealing with an artist that sounds so good when they sing that there's just no work to do, really. Even compression or things like that. It's just everything sounds more juicy doing that when there's just when a vocalist is so good at their job that there's just everything just sounds great when you're doing it. And especially that when you can put a vocalist on a track that sounds great, it's even better, you know? But yeah, We'll See really gives, I think, an awesome outlook to the song. And it's like, it's one of those remixes that just like, oh man, I wish I made that remix. And that's what makes me still happy because my name's still slapped on it. And, you know, Korr, I think, is pretty damn happy about the remix too, and so was the label. I think the label was very, very pleased to hear the remix that was done. Oh yeah, and then just the ear candy effects that were just reprinted, right? So I'm just taking like phrases of what he says, and you can even hear it here, just how. Shh, Genevieve. That's my daughter there. Little bad language there. I don't know if anyone heard it. Cool. Yeah. And then over here, there's just a vocal push. I guess I'm not done yet. And then we have like the little plate, which is reverb. I used to be obsessed using this reverb on vocals. Now I'm using other wave stuff. And then we have like the vocal coming into sidechain the room, EQing bad stuff out of the room, delay. And then we're kind of doing the same thing with the delay, so it gives it more space. The 1/8 delay itself for the vocal, taking off this annoying analog setting. And then this is on the melody, just a room. And then we're kind of just side chaining the signal for the reverb and some EQ being done within the reverb unit itself. Then we have a delay on it, just so it gives a ping pong to give it more of an effect on the melody. Then we have the bass, I guess something called bass max. So I guess what I'm doing here, I think I want to enhance the bass more, so it looks like I've just given a harmonized fifth within. So the bass in here is just a fifth of the bass below it, right? Excuse me. I think I should probably do something like this again. I have no idea why I did that, but I think it's pretty cool. Let's, sorry. Yeah, so it looks like, it's one that I call bass max. So yeah, it's just making the bass slam a little more, and so it's just something going in an auxiliary of it, and it's just basically tuned to like a fifth harmony of the hey, it's the fifth harmony. That's like that singer group, and then I have it going through a Sans amp for like straight like distortion. Looks like it's a mid clean, so like the church is off. I just have like a little buzz. The highs all the way up. The lows are turned up a bit, and then I've compressed the signal with the LA 3A. And then with the keyboards, it looks like I am using the little plate. I would definitely use more different reverbs to give more shapes within the mix. And then we have the LA 2A, but just... here, that's side chaining the room to the keyboard, right? And then we have a tape slap for the keyboard. And yeah, that's really about it. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and make sure that you pre-save the single, which I'll leave a link for you to go to. And please support and purchase, get a copy, add on Spotify, any of that. I'd be super appreciated in just all the work that has been put into this album for the past 3 years. So yeah, see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.